we journeyed down the street today was because of a very exciting afternoon for the Nationals. They introduced their brand new skipper, Blake Butera, who was just on the dais talking to the media. I think he just did an MLB Network hit. You're making the rounds, and we're very pleased to welcome him onto our show on 106.7 The Fan right now. Blake, congratulations. And I don't know if we get to do this. You've probably already had 100 people welcome you to D.C., but welcome to the district.
Welcome, man.
Thank you. No, excited to be here. Excited to sit down with both of you guys and get going.
Were you expecting to get interviews and to be a hot name in this cycle, or when you found out from Eric Neander that the Nats wanted to talk to you, were you a little bit surprised?
Yeah, a little bit. I think you're always surprised when a team calls on you, and I think just going through the process, it was evident to me. Just this is somewhere it's pretty special, and what Paul's trying to build and his vision here with ownership and everything is something that we felt really good about.
What was that vision as you're going through this process? Where because a lot of fans are going, this all sounds fun, this is cool, but what should we expect and when should we expect it?
Yeah, I think just kind of talking through the foundation he's trying to build in terms of the people that he's bringing in here. We already have a pretty exciting young roster, of course, with some young talent, and getting the chance to talk to a lot of them. It's pretty it's pretty cool to hear how hungry they are, and they're not really happy with the seasons they've had, even though some of them have some pretty impressive seasons at young ages. They're excited to tap into some more and reach the next level.
Blake Butera managed for 4 years in the minors, playoffs 4 times, couple of championships, and then the Rays said, we need your help in another area, and they kind of brought you into the player development fold. Do you enjoy managing more, or could you have seen yourself going the front office route? Did you always expect to get back to the bench at some point?
Yeah, I expected to, and I think a lot of people along the way, it kind of said that I was kind of at that point in my career where it could go front office or could go back to the manager route, and I definitely miss the competition and the being in the dugout every day with the guys and working through 162 games. And it's a long season and there's a lot of ups and downs. And I think just the fun you have with the guys day in and day out and seeing them kind of reach their potential was something that I missed.
Well, in terms of that grind of going through a minor league season with players whose ultimate goal is to not be there anymore, right? Like as you're trying to build a team, build a roster, build a winning culture, if it goes well, you lose a lot of those guys. How did that kind of form your experience to be ready at the big league club where there's no higher level to get called up to?
Yeah, I think it goes back to just kind of making sure you set out the foundation you want and you create and instill the values that you want these players to have day in and day out. And it's all about consistency and making sure you're building something to where every day they put in the work, and they understand kind of where they're trying to get to and how they're going to get there. And I know the major leagues is the major leagues. There's no league above it or level above it. But, we want to make sure that our players, and I told a lot of them on the phone, I was like, no matter what happens, our job is to make sure you guys, each of you can play another 10, 12 plus years in the major leagues, whether it's with us or somewhere else. We're going to try to get that out of you.
New Nats manager Blake Butera with us on Grant and Danny live from Nationals Park. He was just introduced today in a press conference, and you're locked in to your flagship home for the Nats, 106.7 The Fan. Stylistically, as a manager, does your player development background make you more of an instructor, like a coach in a sense, even at the big league level? Because when I see that someone's managed and worked in PD, I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe he's still going to dive in on the fundamentals and do a lot of coaching. Or now that you're at the big league level as a manager, does some of that go on other people's desk and you've got other roles? How does that work?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into being a major league manager, and I think a lot of it, whether it's media or interviews or different things where you're managing relationships with players in the clubhouse, I think you always want to be out on the field helping the players and hitting them ground balls and throwing BP and all those things. I think you look at it. I'm pretty sure every manager in the major leagues was once a coach prior to that, and was a specific position coach. And I think it comes with the territory, right? Where your first and foremost your responsibility is to manage this ball club and help you get wins. And if you have some time to get out on the field and help those guys, you can do so. But first, you got to take care of your job.
What's an element of managing or being in charge of a ball club that came naturally to you, and what's something you really had to work at?
I think just empathizing with the players was one thing that kind of came naturally. I think it's because
how hard it is.
Yeah. It's a hard game. It's a really hard game. There's a lot that goes on, especially nowadays with social media and the agents, and there's so much more that goes into it than just trying to go out there every night and compete. But with that, in terms of something I needed to get better at, is I think when you get thrown in this early, you realize pretty quickly that you do not have all the answers, right? And it's you're constantly asking questions and gaining new perspectives and listening, and I think sometimes when you get into this, sometimes you want to jump in full speed, but first thing you need to do is just build those relationships and gain the trust.
How do you go about, in your experience, really getting teams to play high IQ baseball, right? Not without looking too far into the past. I mean, this has been a dreadful base running team. This has been just a bad defensive team in ways where it felt like the adjustments didn't come. You get picked off twice. You're just going right back out there. You're not getting benched. Maybe there's a talking to that we don't see. But you would think at some point something would change if people are being held accountable. What are the teams that don't do that to avoid those things?
Yeah, I think first you have to make sure that the players understand what's important to you, right? If what's important to you is hitting a bunch of home runs and a bunch of doubles, and that's what the players are going to feel is important. But if you make sure they understand, hey, we're going to run the bases right, we're going to play defense the right way, we're going to control the controllables. I think every player wants to go out there and go 3 for 4 every night, but it's not possible. But one thing you can control is how you play the game and how you run hard down the line. And then there are going to be mistakes that are going to happen. I think we're naive to think that there aren't going to be, but what's going to happen after those mistakes? We're going to sit down, we're going to review those things and kind of talk through hey, this is what you did, this is what we can do better next time, and then we're going to learn from it and grow.
I'm thinking, football, we watched all day yesterday. We think of penalties or something. There are some that maybe coaches get less angry about because there are these physical things that happen, as you said, where you're giving it 100%, you're making a mistake at 1,000,000 miles an hour as opposed to a procedural thing where you jumped off sides or whatever. Is there something like that in baseball where there are things you can live with and others where you go, hey, this is just a philosophy thing that we're not going to tolerate?
Yeah, I think one of my big things is always have a reason for why you did what you did. And it's if somebody goes first to third in a spot where they come in, you ask them, hey, why'd you go first third, and you got thrown out. And it's hey, it's a tie game. I thought the right fielder didn't have a good arm. I thought I had a good secondary. If there's a good reason behind why they did it, we can live with that. You're being aggressive. You're taking a shot.
New Nets manager Blake Butera with us here on Grant and Danny. You may have heard that you're 33 years old. Has that come up at all?
No, it's the first time. I didn't realize.
I know. So the shtick aside, how do you put that to bed? Where some radio guest you're talking to is hey, this new guy, has he opened up the drink yet? You're going to hear crap like that, right? How do you put that sort of thing to bed in terms of your presence, in terms of your commanding authority and owning that role? How do you make that not a talking point for anybody anymore?
I think I've had a lot of practice at it, right? I think I've been in a lot of different roles where, since I started managing when I was 24, 25 years old, that was a talking point then. And then, you just kind of learn to hey, it's a talking point. And at the end of the day, can you get the job done, and can you do the job to the best of your ability, no matter what your age is, and let the work kind of take care of itself.
Do you get any motivation from it, or kind of a chip on your shoulder, the idea that there's going to be these old guard managers that are oh, come on, 33 years old, already a manager from player development? Do you care about any of that noise and use it as fuel, or it's not interesting to you?
No, I mean, I definitely respect the path that all the different managers and people in leadership positions have had to get to where they are today. But I think just the conversations that I've had with a lot of managers throughout the league already, I think they're excited for me, and I think they know kind of my background and kind of what I'm about and the relationships I already have with a lot of players and coaches and managers throughout the league that, I think some of, the preparation and the way you go about your business hopefully speaks for itself. But, yeah, I mean, you have to earn the respect of others.
So I've talked to Paul about this, but I want to get your perspective on it too. Have you ever seen The Dark Knight Rises?
Yes.
The movie, right? So
he just wants to talk about the movie. There's no baseball
No, it's just a movie question. No. So
did you think it was as good as The Dark Knight, and where did Batman Begins?
Where does it rank for you? No. So you remember there's a scene where they're fighting, Batman and Bane are fighting in that aqueduct or whatever, right? And Batman turns out the lights, and he's like, "The darkness is your ally. I was born in it." You're born and raised in this era of barrel percentages and analytics and exit velocities and things. I've tried to adopt it as an older person, right? Where it's like, I hit 320, that's good. But like, you've been raised in this, whereas other people have had to adapt on the fly. Do you feel like that gives you kind of an advantage in these sorts of conversations, trying to talk to some of these younger players that have come up in this era of drive line and tread this and that, and the other thing where they understand how to rotate their scapula on a certain delivery, whereas the rest of us are like, it feels good when I barrel, right? You know what I mean? Like, you were raised in this environment. Do you feel like that gives you maybe a leg up?
Yeah, I think first that was a really good impersonation.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely not your first time doing
Thanks.
that one. It definitely helped. But I think just along the lines of kind of anything, any profession, it's like you have to constantly grow and continue to kind of evolve with the times, right? And things are always changing. And players today are as smart as they've ever been, and they go to these different, private facilities and in different areas, and they learn the spin rate, and they work on, pitch shapes and pitch design and hitters with their exit velocity and, just all the different metrics you want to talk about. I think it's important just to understand a lot of that stuff. I don't think you need to have a full comprehension of every piece of information, but just to make sure the players understand that you know what you're talking about when it comes to that. But then also hiring people around you that are, really good at that. Yeah. It's just to make sure the players understand, like, hey, we're buttoned up and we're here to help, and we can definitely help you get better.
It doesn't matter how many jobs you've had or what your experience is. Your bench coach is always going to be maybe as big a hire as you're going to make. How did you decide on Michael Johns, and tell us about your right-hand man to be here?
Yeah, MJ is somebody that I looked up to and had a chance to work for with the Rays. He has a pretty extensive background in terms of managing in the Rays minor league system. He oversaw their player development system as their field coordinator for a handful of years when we were, producing a lot of pretty impressive talent at the major league level. Then he's been in the major leagues with them the last couple of years and has really helped Cashy in the dugout every night, just watching their relationship and how much he's leaned on MJ. And he's someone that he cares immensely about every single player in the organization, and he's someone that's going to pour his absolute everything into helping everyone get to their potential, and someone that I can trust.
And then similar question with new pitching coach Simon Matthews. How well did you know him before, and what is your background with him?
Yeah, Simon was somebody that, I think Paul has a pretty good history with, and I had the chance to interview him, and, I was blown away right away. Just how educated he is and how smart he is in terms of the metrics and the analytics and the data and the things that we talk about. And obviously coming from Driveline and a lot of facilities where he's familiar with a lot of pitchers that we currently have that have trained at some of these places. And then obviously being an assistant pitching coach for the Reds last year, I had a chance to talk with Terry Francona about Simon, and he raved about him. And that's someone that's obviously managed a long time in the big leagues and has had a lot of pitching coaches. And the fact that he couldn't tell me one negative thing about Simon just spoke volumes.
Give me, if you wouldn't mind, your philosophy on what a pitching coach's job is and what a hitting coach's job is. A lot of times, if a player's in a slump, goes 0 for 12, the fans are like, fire the hitting coach. I mean, it's one of those, almost no-win jobs at certain points, right? Kind of same with the pitching coach. What's your philosophy on how you want certain things implemented and what their roles actually are?
Yeah, pitching coach and hitting coach are some of the hardest jobs
100%.
in sports right now. I think for me, what's most important is just making sure that their processes are down pat, that we have a strong process in place for how we're going to, one, help our hitters and pitchers get better when we talk about pregame work and making sure their development is improving. And then secondly, making sure that our pitchers and our hitters are prepared every night. One thing I can't live with is that if our hitter is going up against a pitcher and they don't really know kind of how to prepare against that guy, and they're not prepared when they get in the box, and whether the hitter executes his plan when he gets in there, that's up to the hitter. But the hitting coach and same with the pitching coach needs to make sure that they, equip them with everything they need to prior to stepping between the lines.
What kind of gait are we going to have walking out to the mound? We go hand in the back pocket? I didn't get to watch the tape from the minor leagues at all. Like, what's your strut like going out there? Do you ever jog out there, or how does it work?
Depends how cold it is, right? I think
that's
opening days in Wrigley in March.
Yeah. Might have to get out there quick.
Are you, if you're taking the ball from a guy, is it that one clap, with then the handshake, or you clap at all?
These are the things you got to do in front of the mirror and just like,
right.
Like, who am I?
Does it depend on how their performance was?
I'm asking you.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Good question.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and what if, Max Scherzer's not here anymore, luckily. thank God that you don't have to take the ball from him.
From
but
that
like,
wild animal.
What if there is a veteran and he doesn't want to come off the mound, but you've got to take the ball, and then what happens?
Yeah, it's the way it goes. I think, it's not easy, right? You want guys that don't want to give you the ball. You want the competitors. You want the guys that want to pitch 9 every time they go out there. But
I'm a Buck Showalter hand in the back pocket guy. That's
Okay.
kind of always been my thing.
Now, it's the days of the manager sit are kind of over. It's now pretty much requisite top step for the most part. But did you have a managerial sit? Like you're just so 80% on one side.
I know what you're talking about.
Sunflower seeds or skull. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Do you have that?
That's like the old guy at the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like cross legs or just kind of where do
I've
you
never
think?
sat. I've always stood.
You're always a stand
I'm
guy.
always a
Yeah.
stand guy.
Hoodie or full uniform? Jacket? Like if it's cold out.
If it's cold, I'll wear a jacket, but I like to wear a uniform.
Uniform
yeah.
guy.
Okay. Hoodie could be a good look too, I think.
Depends if we're winning, too. Like,
Whatever it is.
superstitious.
Mix it
Yeah.
up. You like the Bain impression. That's good. We actually have prepared for you. Charles Barkley wanted to congratulate you on your managerial performance.
Okay, this is a congratulatory to Blake Butera. He went to Boston College, Kenny. That's a school in Boston. Not a lot of people understand that, but they used to be really good at basketball. Not so much no more. No disrespect to Blake Butera, but it's very exciting for him to be coaching.
I thought it was weird that John
Generals.
Gruden was really happy for him.
Say something, man. We're going to talk to Blake Butera, man. This is an exciting football player here. Probably the best football player the Nationals have ever had, man.
Why was Stephen A. Smith so happy? about
Well,
it?
we got to talk about this here, okay? Because it's disrespectful, it's cantankerous, it's esophageal in terms of the ridiculousness of the situation right now.
Well, the good thing about being in D.C. is that Barack Obama was very happy for you.
To be clear, this is one of the 2 youngest people I've ever met. Sasha 1, Malia 2, and Blake Butera 3.
And then Donald Trump was actually thrilled. He's been busy lately. But
This is one of the great hirings. I've had so many people are saying it. It's a terrific hire. I was told. They asked me, and I said, he's very good. He's very strong. He was I forget where he was. But he's a very good hire. And many people don't give me credit, but I advised all the people to hire Blake Butera, believe me.
Anyway,
Blown
Blake,
away.
we're happy
That's
that
a
you're
lot,
here.
man.
We're fired up, man. Seriously, though, we're really, really excited about the new direction of the team. You used the word drive line today. If
I
someone
pulled something doing
if
spin
someone
kicks.
said that a year ago, all the glass in this building broke. So it's pretty cool, man. Thank you so much for hopping on, and best of luck to you.
Thank
We're
you
proud,
both.
brother. Thank you.
Fired
Absolutely.
up. Thanks.
New manager of the Nationals. He's been busy forming his staff. They got some more decisions to make. Blake Butera is with us. You'll hear from Paul Taboni coming up at 5 o'clock live from Nats Park. Grant and Danny on the Fan.